Welcome to the final section in React Native projects, preparing apps for distribution. In this section, we're going to look at how to easily create all the app icon files that we'll need for our iOS and Android applications, and how to place those app icon files into our packages and tweak the names of our apps as they are displayed on the screen. We'll also create production bundles of all of our application code that we can use for our testing and release versions. And finally, we're going to learn how to upgrade the React Native version successfully, as it goes really fast. And finally, where you can turn for help and to give back to the React Native community. And without further ado, let's start our last section. So here we go. Let's talk about generating app icons. In this video, we're going to look at using a very helpful app icon template file that makes iOS and Android app icon generation really easy. Then we're going to export both our Android icon files and our iOS icon files for our last application. Now we have this great Chat Now app, which we've finished development on, and we're excited because we're ready to get it into the hands of our customers for beta testing and for approval. There are a few more steps that we'd want to execute on before we send it out to anybody. And for example, if we look at the home screen, we notice that Chat Now doesn't actually have an icon yet. You have to have an icon before you're able to take it to the stores. So let's start with that. And we can also adjust how this is displaying here as far as the app name goes. There are many different ways to create an app icon for iOS and Android. And if you have a designer on staff, that's great because they'll do a fantastic job. If you're going to be designing the icon, I wanted to show you a resource that I found very useful to me, and that is appicontemplate.com. If you come here, there are several different Photoshop templates, including an app icon and an Android product icon. To grab it, go to the page and download the Photoshop file. Once it's downloaded, go ahead and unzip it. And you'll note that there is inside a Photoshop file and an action file. Now those actions are important because they are what help to output all the different icon sizes that you'll need to supply with your app. The same thing applies to the Android icon template. Check it out, download, and inside you'll find the Photoshop and the action file. Let me show you what this looks like. If I open up the Photoshop file, it may ask if you want to resolve some fonts. Don't worry if you don't have them. They're not actually going to affect your icon at all, but you can just resolve them with something similar. And inside this file, we see an app icon of various sizes and an overlay on a typical screen that it might look like. What's handy is to change all of these instances. All we need to do is double click on this layer that says Edit Me and Save, and it alerts us to do File Save when we're finished changing our icon. Again, we'll resolve these fonts. And here we have what is that icon. There's a bunch of different handy guides and grids. There's pre-made circle templates and square templates in the Android version, lots of gradients in the iOS version. And we can go ahead and start modifying this to do whatever we need to do with it. When we're finished, we can save it. And then if we flip back to the main file, we'll see that it's now been updated with all of our changes. Now I happen to have a version of this icon template that I've already created a small little Chat Now icon on. Here it is in the Android version. And that's the iOS version, just designed to emulate a little bit the big red button that we have in our application. Now, if you're using this, in order to export the app icons at the various sizes, we need to make sure that the actions are installed in Photoshop in order to export it. To do so, go to Window, Actions, and then to add these new actions, click on the little menu icon and go to Load Actions, and go to where we downloaded them from. We'll get the Android actions, drag that out, and we'll do the same with the iOS. Great. Now with my Android icon template open, I'll go to my Android product icon template action, and where it says export all sizes, I'll press play. It's pre-sliced my file, and I'm going to save those. Make a new folder and we'll call it Icons, Android, Save. We'll also now save our iOS versions. So bring up our actions again and go to my app icon template folder, and then we'll take this particular square icon export because we don't want any rounded icons. Press play. And then when it's finished, if I look at my desktop, I see all of the app icons that I need for my iOS app as well. Let's move them into a folder real quick. And voila. Now the next question is, how do I get all of these app icons into my app package so that they show up when I'm actually looking at my app on the screen? Well, that's exactly what we're going to cover in our next two videos, first starting with how to do it in iOS.